Welcome to the Etsy Conversations podcast, featuring inspiring interviews with Etsy shop owners, hosted by Ijama Elazu.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of the Etsy Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Ijama, and thank you for joining me this week for this episode. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me on Twitter. My handle is at Convo Podcast. You can also go to the website, convome.com. There's a contact form there you can submit to me. I get that directly. I'll respond by email. And if you want to be my guest, there's a Be My Guest page on there as well. You can fill that out and I will make sure I get back to you. And if you just want to hang out with other people who are into Etsy and the podcast, there's also the Etsy Conversations Facebook page. And that's enough about me. Today, my guest is TJ. TJ owns the Etsy shop RockaBeauty Mama, and she opened her shop on March 4th, 2014, and she has 15 sales and 6 5-star reviews so far. TJ, welcome to the Etsy Conversation podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for being on the podcast. Oh, and lest I forget, I didn't just roll out of bed. I actually have a cold. So if I sound funny or congested, that's why. Okay. I just want to make sure I let everyone know. So TJ, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I on Etsy, I go by RockaBeauty Mama, but my shop is actually RockaBeauty Boutique. I just wanted to give a little quick correction.
Oh, thank you.
And I am a big fashionista, kind of older fashion. So I really like the whole 1950s style clothing and my shop kind of reflects that with retro styled hair accessories, and I'm growing to add some aprons soon, hopefully, and some more accessories that kind of reflect that style. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So tell me about that. I think I mentioned this to you once before. You're all about the rockabilly style. That's what it's called, right?
Rockabilly, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, rockabilly.
Yeah. That's where I got the name for the shop. RockaBeauty. It kind of adds my...
Right. So what defines that style?
So it comes from the era of like where rock music meets like hillbilly music almost. That's where the name comes from.
Oh.
So rockabilly. And then there was a style, a fashion style that kind of came out of that, which is like pinup style for women, and then like things like James Dean for men.
Oh,
So it's a lot of
okay.
fun.
How did you get into it?
Well, I still am, don't do it as much, but I'm a hairstylist and makeup artist. And
Nice.
when I went through beauty school, after beauty school, I went and worked with a photographer for a while and got some editorial work. And I really enjoyed doing like the dressed up looks. And then a lot of my inspiration for that after that came from older fashion, because I mean, people just used to be glamorous, you know?
Yeah.
So it draws my eye, so I really like it.
Nice. And you make all the designs. You come up with all the different designs yourself that you make.
Okay. I came up with them. Actually, the inspiration from them. I've wanted to open an Etsy shop for a really long time, but didn't really know what exactly. And then I had a rockabilly inspired DIY wedding with my husband. And that kind of, I made my first hair bow for that, for my hair. And then it just blossomed from that. So.
Oh, nice. So did you just first discover Etsy in 2014?
No, not at all. I discovered it, I think it was maybe 2011. I was at a local farmer's market in my town, and there was a booth that I walked into, and I wasn't going to get something right then, but I wanted to grab her card, and so I grabbed her card, and it brought me to her Etsy shop. And I kind of just searched around from there, and I was like, why have I not known about this before? Yeah. So I just saw all this stuff, and I was like, I love crafting. I love doing this stuff. I'm like, I need to open a shop. And so from there, I spent a couple years learning how to
Wow.
run an Etsy business and your own creative business is a little different than just opening up a store. So
Right.
yeah, and then I got my idea after that of which shop I wanted to open, and then I went from there.
Wow.
It opened in March, so
Oh, so
yeah.
okay, so you did things slightly differently from the way a
Yeah.
lot of people do it. You didn't just jump right in. You
No.
educated yourself first.
Yeah,
Then you
I spent too long educating myself. I should have done it a while ago. I was nervous, so
Oh, really?
yeah.
So in retrospect, would do you still think it's a good idea to first learn about Etsy and how to sell on that platform before opening your store, or do you think it's better to just jump right in and then learn as you go?
I think it depends, if you want to go at it from like a hobby perspective, then jump in and learn as you go. But
Okay.
I really wanted to put all I had into it. And so I learned the parts of running the shop and how to go about all the technical side of things outside of the crafting, just because I wanted to be able to successfully do this.
Okay.
And I wanted to set it up for success.
Oh,
And I was really nervous to open my shop. Putting stuff out there on the internet it's a bit scary.
yeah, yeah. Because once you put it out there, it's out there.
Yeah. But I have total regrets for not opening it earlier, because once you're out there, it isn't as scary as you think it is.
Yeah.
So,
So you are very intentional when you
yes.
in your approach to Etsy. What was your original goal, your intention for your Etsy shop when you first opened it? Was it just for side income, or were you planning on eventually going into Etsy full time?
So for the past couple of years, I've been a stay-at-home mom to my daughter, and my husband works, and so I wanted to bring in side income if possible. And I
Okay.
also, I love crafting, so it was kind of a hobby. I have too much stuff for making it, so I want to put it somewhere, and making money off of it would be a added bonus. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Yeah, you can't wear everything you make, can you?
Yeah, I keep everything. All of my designs, I have them one of each kind hanging up on my wall that I
Oh,
wear almost on a daily basis.
oh, I see. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
But I can't keep it all.
Right, right. Um, so right now, do you have a job outside of Etsy, or you're doing Etsy and you're staying at home with your baby? Well, who might
I'm
not be a baby anymore.
Yeah, she's about to start school this year actually. So
Okay, not a baby
um
anymore.
but yeah, I've been home with her, but I've been doing freelance hair and makeup.
Oh, nice.
Not very often, but every once in a while for like some weddings and stuff like that. So I'm not in a salon, but I
Okay,
I do that on the side.
okay. So you still get to make your own schedule and work around
Yeah, yeah,
your other
exactly. It's
priorities.
very flexible so that I can be at home with my daughter and do
Yeah.
homeschool, preschool, and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
very good.
yeah.
So with the shop and taking care of your home obligations, how do you manage your time?
Oh, it's a balance.
Yeah.
It's tough to do, but um, I typically in the morning, my daughter seems to be a little bit more easy to get her on a task and doing things. So I'll get all my business stuff where I'm like have to sit at the computer and answer messages and stuff like that. I'll get that done while she's can focus on other things. And then we typically do it's kind of like I block little times when when I can manage it. If one day she's not feeling it, then I just like, okay, well, I can get the stuff done tomorrow if I can. And then in the afternoon, I typically do my crafting because she's, again, either taking a nap or
Right.
stuff on her own. So
Uh-huh.
she's pretty easygoing. So
Oh,
it makes
good.
it so I can balance the Etsy work with home work.
Okay. Do you find that you try and make time to work on a craft every day?
I do. I
Okay.
want to I'd like to, it doesn't always happen. I'd like to get a new design done at least one a day would be nice, like one item, but I like to also block times where I can, like kind of step by step put them all together, streamline the process so that I can get more done.
Okay.
But if I'm designing a new item, I I will spend an afternoon just designing it and then put it into the production line basically for getting it up on Etsy and listed
So
another day.
when you say design, what does that entail? Does it include coming up with the actual design of the product and then making it?
So I have currently, since I started back in March, I only have a few different what I would call designs. I have the retro style headband, which is like most of them are the same pattern, but I will use different fabrics for them, which I'll see a fabric that I like and I'm like, oh, I have to have that. And I get it, and then I'll put it into that pattern or design.
Okay.
And so there's the headbands, there's the hair bows, and then I have some earrings too that I have on this.
Yeah.
In the shop. And so the actual making of the design I would call the pattern of it.
Okay.
And then so I have my hair bows and my headbands and my earrings right now. And then it's just different patterns from there.
I see. Now, do you know if there are other Etsy shops that sell rockabilly style accessories too?
There's a lot of them actually. I mean, maybe not a lot, but there's quite a few that sell the style of stuff that I sell, especially the hair accessories. They're really popular. And some of them are bigger shops and some of them are smaller shops, and I'm kind of in between right now. I'm growing my shop.
Okay. How are you differentiating yourself to set your shop apart from the others?
Well, I focus a lot on my photography. I don't necessarily have a photography background, but I've worked with photographers before with hair and makeup, so I've learned some techniques from that. And my sister is also a photographer, and she's taught me a lot. And everything else I know is from online articles on learning my camera and lighting and stuff like that. And so I've tried to get a really good look of my shop overall, and it shows up in the listings. Like, you can really see my items clearly, and some other shops don't necessarily focus on that, but I think it helps get that click into the shop from people that are browsing. So and I've always been a huge customer service person throughout my whole career in hair and makeup. Customer's always right,
Right.
And I really believe that if someone has a problem with anything that I've sent them, I'll take it right back and fix whatever I need to make sure that they're happy. So
no questions asked.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, if they're not happy, I mean, if I bought something and I wasn't happy, I'd like to be able to do something about it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. I agree. Now, do you give your customers a time limit or a time frame to respond if they're not satisfied? Like, if somebody keeps something for 3 weeks and says, you know what, I'm not happy with this headband, would you still take it back?
So right now, like in my policies, it says that contact me personally and we'll discuss options. But I mean, if they've had it for a month or so and they've worn it a bunch of times, it might be a little bit like there's kind of a time frame where I need to be able to know that I'm taking that back and either replacing it with something else or fixing anything that might be wrong, which I double check everything. So really there shouldn't be anything wrong, hopefully.
Right.
But there is a little bit of I'll give a little lenience, but I won't be like, okay, in 3 months you contact me and say, I don't like this headband anymore.
Right.
Okay, I don't really know what I can do about that. I haven't come across that problem yet, so.
Yeah, I know.
We'll see when it gets there.
Well, I think, even Amazon gives you just 30 days to return stuff. And
I have it in my policies. I forget, it might have been like a 15-day, give you half a month to contact me, and after you've received the item, and then we'll discuss if you need to exchange or anything.
Okay. So, before you came onto Etsy, you did do a lot of background yeah, like you educated yourself about it. Was one of the things you did up front create your policies, your shop policies, shipping policies, and all that, or did those evolve as time went on?
My policies have been the same from day one. I made sure those were in place because, I mean, communication is so important, especially when buying online. You want to know, if you're the purchaser, that you're not going to get something and then not be able to, if it's not what you wanted, because you didn't get to touch and feel the item and look at it personally. Like, when you get it in your hands, if it's not exactly what you wanted, you want to know that what you can do about it, if you can exchange, return it. And then I also, I mean, yeah, I had to have those policies in place. I felt personally, just to be comfortable, to protect myself and also to protect my buyers, so that they knew what they were getting into shopping in my store, which I feel like a lot of other, not a lot is not the right way. Some Etsy sellers don't necessarily, some don't even have policies up, and I think it's very important as a shop owner to have your policies in place, so that you like, well, this is my return policy, and if you don't meet these guidelines, then we're not going to do a return. And then you're protected on Etsy's side of things. If someone tries to do a dispute with you, saying, I want my money back, you can say, well, I had these policies, and hopefully you read them, and if you didn't, I'm sorry. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. And you're right. I was one of those people who, when I first started selling, my policies were reactionary as opposed to proactive, because I guess in retrospect it would have been easier if I even just looked at some sample policies and then came up with my own. But yeah, things would happen and then I would create a policy, and then something else would happen and then I would add to the policy, and something else would happen and then I would add not the way to go. Your way is the way to go from day one.
I would definitely develop my policies if they need to change at some point, because I've come across something that I haven't covered. I'll change them.
Right.
But I wanted to get a good foundation for the shop, so that people can just read through my policies and feel comfortable purchasing from my shop. So
that's the way to go. Have you had any bad experiences or had to deal with any disputes or negative feedback on Etsy so far?
Not yet. I've had 5-star reviews so far with the reviews I've gotten, and nobody has contacted me needing a return or anything like that. No bad experiences. I love Etsy. It's a great community. I don't know. There hasn't been anything bad yet. I'm sure down the line I might come across some difficult things, because everyone does.
Yeah, but, it's inevitable. But yes, in the beginning, it's always good in the beginning when you don't, because then that's a good sign that you're doing something right.
It's been really great so far. No complaints.
Yeah. There's always just going to be that one customer that will change that, but everyone needs to expect that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Etsy shop promotion. What are you doing now to promote your Etsy shop?
So I'm on most social media. I've got Facebook, Twitter. I'm on Pinterest as well. I have a blog. I'm not currently, this month I haven't been doing it so much because I've had a lot going on for family life that has kept me away from the blog. But I have my own site for the shop that I put new products and even some like outfit designs for like pairing my products with a certain outfit that's kind of rockabilly style,
Oh yeah.
And I have a lot of fun writing about it. And then I also let me see, I've got my business cards that I hand out to people.
Oh, nice.
That's always good promotion. But, so I mostly do social media though, online right now.
Do you do craft fairs?
Not yet. I really want to. I'm the only thing about selling online is I don't get that personal interaction of like seeing someone and talking to them face to face. Right. And I'm a very, very social person, so I really like that. And so I really want to get into craft fairs at some point. Okay. But I want to grow the line a little bit more, so I have more products to bring to a craft fair. But down the line it will happen, I think.
Okay. Yeah, it's always helpful.
Yeah.
For your website, do you sell directly from the website, or do you direct people? Well, if someone sees a design that they like and they want to buy it, does it bring them to your Etsy shop?
Yeah, I
Okay.
sell out of the Etsy shop right now. I
Okay.
don't have I haven't set up a shop on the site. It's mostly just for updates and fun blog posts. I
Okay. Do you
haven't gotten that around.
do you find that the blog helps to drive traffic to your Etsy shop?
When I use it properly, yeah. I'm new to the blogging. I started at the beginning of this year, actually, before I opened my shop.
Oh, you just came
kinda get
online and you just went for everything, huh?
yeah. And so I started my blog first to kind of get an introduction onto what I was going to offer on Etsy. And then when I
Okay.
opened my shop, I started doing some more. I tried to do weekly posts. This summer has been a little bit crazy for us. My daughter is starting school, so
Yeah.
we've been trying to prep for that. And so once she starts school, I'll be getting back into the weekly blogging, hopefully.
Right. That's a major life change for her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of us, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. Everyone. So, outside of social media, what other ways, if you're not doing them now, do you think would be helpful to help promote your Etsy shop?
Well, on Etsy, I'm on some of the blogging teams of like where the bloggers can come, or they're already doing Etsy shops and they're blogging for the Etsy shops, and some of them will ask, does someone want to be featured on my blog? And then I will go and respond to that forum post and say, hey, I think I look at their blog and see if it would be a good fit for who I'm trying to reach with my products. And I'll contact them and be like, if you're interested, I'd love to be on your blog for a feature. Or, I mean, even I've been listening to your podcast for a while. And when we talked on Twitter, that I think it was the hashtag handmade hour.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was.
Like, when you talked to me, I was like, oh my gosh, I love your show. And that invited me to be on here, and that was just great. And so
Okay.
I think that contacting bloggers, you have to put yourself out there to get on blogs as a featured seller on Etsy. You have to be the one to approach them, I think. So I've been doing that.
Okay. Now for the bloggers, I'm glad you brought that up, because I don't think we've discussed this before. So having yourself featured on a blog, let's discuss specifically what that means. So a blogger will belong to a particular team on Etsy, a blogging team on Etsy, and then they'll invite shop owners who want to be featured on their blog to let them know. And so what does the feature on the blog entail? Do they just write about your shop? Do they create a treasury of your shop items on their blog? How do they do it? What do they do for you, I should ask?
So the ones that I've been featured on so far, they basically will send some questions to answer, and then I've done my own write-up of my shop and a little bit about me, a little bit about my shop. They'll feature some photos of the items that I sell, and it's more of like a mini interview, I guess.
Okay.
And then there's some that I haven't done anywhere. I've been featured in treasuries for a blog feature necessarily. But I'm sure some people do that too. That's a great idea. I might do it on my blog from now on.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that before. But yeah, so it's what I've done so far is mini interviews. And then actually one blog that I was on, there's the Etsy mini where you can take like little links and little images of your shop and put them on a blog. And so there was a blogger who features one Etsy shop a day. I don't remember her name. I wish I did. But she has it up in the corner. She has one Etsy shop featured each week. And it's just little links to her shop. It's no write-up, just a little almost mini advertisement, I guess.
Oh yeah, so I've seen
cool.
that. I've seen that,
Yeah.
and they just pick you randomly. No.
they could either pick someone randomly, or in my case, I approached them because they posted on one of the blocking teams that I'm on about needing, like, I'm doing this on my blog. I would love to feature some shops. If you're interested, contact me. And so I contacted those people.
Okay. So was it a treasury of your shop or just like a link to your shop?
It's a link. There's this little, it's like a little widget of, I don't know how else to explain it.
Okay.
For people that aren't used to blogging, but
yeah,
it's like a
sidebar widget.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
they kind of click on.
And then it shows a few items of the shop and a link to the shop, and that's it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Was that helpful for you?
I did, for some of the blog features, I saw some traffic, and it was nice because they also tend to share it on their social media as well. So it's not just the blog feature. Sometimes it's like blog feature plus they promote it plus you can promote it. Mm-hmm. And then it's kind of a snowball effect. Like more people see it and hopefully drive traffic to your shop. So
okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because that's I don't want to go off on a tangent. But yes, that's something I was beginning to work on, was, if it's helpful putting, more treasuries on the site so people who come can see it and then they can go and visit, that particular person's Etsy shop. Like featuring let's say so this week your episode is featured. So there's a treasury that goes to your shop, but then also like a sidebar widget for people who don't listen to the podcast but just scan the site,
Yeah. That could work.
Yeah,
to help.
Yeah. I'll try that. I'll let you know how it works. Okay. So about how much time per week would you say you spend on your Etsy shop?
Oh, geez.
It's fluid, I'm sure.
I feel like my head's in it all the time. Like, if I'm not working on something, I'm typically thinking about it, just because I'm so excited about it. It's like hard to keep out of the brain,
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of new designs, and then I'm like, oh, I got to write this down so I can get to it later. But as far as being able to sit down and actually work on a shop, I typically try and do at very least an hour a day.
Okay.
But it's usually more than that. Usually I get maybe 2 or 3 hours sometimes, where I can spend an hour or two crafting and then an hour in the morning responding to messages and checking online and listing things. And then there's always the photography and editing photos that takes a bit longer. But I like to find a day where I'm not too busy to do those. So maybe I'll spend 5 hours if I can, but usually I can't find that much time.
Yeah, it's hard.
Right now, at least.
But that's the sign of a true entrepreneur. You're always thinking about it. There's always something going on in your head about what to do next or what to do better.
Yeah. I wish I could shut it off sometimes, But, but it's there right now. Maybe once I'm not so fresh
and new. Yes, I know, because right now probably you're just getting so much inspiration and ideas.
Yeah from everywhere.
Yeah, you're in the exciting beginning phase, kind of, I guess.
It's fun. That's great.
Would you say that selling on Etsy so far has had the impact that you initially expected?
I don't know if I wasn't expecting much. I was trying not to have expectations when I opened up. I was like, if it flops, I won't be disappointed.
Oh,
but it's been great. It's been really great. It's been going how I hoped.
Oh,
so
good.
I guess it's met my expectations.
Very good.
I was trying not to set.
I know. I do that sometimes too. I'm like, I know what I want to get out of this, but I don't want to think about that, because then if I don't, then I'm going to be upset or sad. But yeah, I get that. So
it's been an adventure for sure. So
that's good. That's always good. At least you're not getting bored with it.
No, not at all.
It's too early for that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about developing connections on through Etsy. Now, you lead an Etsy team, and you're a part of at least one of the Etsy team. And let's talk about the teams. Let's first talk about the one that you lead.
So the one that I started myself, it's called Beautiful Treasury Box, and we're a treasury team where the members all agree to make, the guidelines for now is 2 treasuries each month. We all make 2 treasuries featuring at least 6 other members. So there's about, I just added a few more members yesterday, but I think there's about 46 members right now. And so all of us are making 2 treasuries every month. And our goal is that those treasuries are worthy of being on the front page of Etsy, because Etsy will pull from well-curated treasuries to post on their front page as featured items.
Right.
And so we all create those 2 treasuries. So we're all giving to the team by featuring other members in the treasuries, and then we're all hopefully getting featured in treasuries as well each month.
Okay. So do you have specifications about photography for the team members? Because I know Etsy looks at that when they are picking treasuries to feature on the front page. Photography is huge. They like nice, pretty pictures.
Yeah. So we, for the guidelines of the team, before you join, you have to have treasuries that we consider are front page worthy. That's kind of opinion based, but if they're well curated, they look nice. Mm-hmm. If I would feature it, which a lot of treasuries I would, then I hope that Etsy would feature it. Okay. So kind of we look for that in treasuries, and then we also look at the shop and look to see if the items are well lit, are maybe artistically photographed, because Etsy tends to pick those ones that are kind of like stand out. It's not just about the product, but how it's been photographed. Yeah. And I look at that. We're a little bit, it's kind of a strict entry, where there are guidelines to enter the team and to be accepted. And, but I don't like judging shops either. So that's kind of a bummer for me when I come across a shop that wants to be on the team, but I'm like, I don't know. How do you aren't necessarily there, but
right? But how do you say no to someone who applies?
I typically leave them in the members that have applied to check back later to see if maybe they've improved. I've contacted some who have applied and say, your treasuries are there, but we could work on maybe improving shop photography so you have a better chance of being featured on the front page. Mm-hmm. And a few of our members don't necessarily, like even my shop, the photography on some of my items, I feel could be better. We could all improve. Right. So I will accept some members that want to improve. They'll even say it in their application. They'll say, my shop photography, I've been working on it and I'd like to work on it more, but here are my treasuries. Hopefully I'm accepted. And we don't want to be too big of a team, because then I feel like some members might get lost in the crowd. But we definitely want to invite and accept who we can.
Okay. So. Do you know if any of your team's treasuries have been featured on Etsy's front page yet?
Yeah. I've had 2 treasuries of my own featured on the front page that I've made.
Excellent.
And one of them was a team treasury, one I don't think was from that team. And so a few of our members got featured on the front page with that treasury. And then I've actually had my items from another team member who have be featured on the front page of Etsy. And we have a thread where we can post if our items, or if we notice another team member who has had a treasury been featured on the front page, we post in there and we congratulate each other and try and keep the excitement going.
Yeah.
And it works. I mean, we're a group of Etsy members who are very devoted to the curation process of treasuries. And we want to kind of do it in an artistic way so that Etsy notices it and other people notice it, so that people will see our shops in there.
Right.
And it helps bring Etsy customers, hopefully,
Right.
into
Yeah.
the shop.
Into your shops. And
Yeah.
it's nice that you have guidelines that people have to meet, because I think it keeps the teams active. And there's nothing
Yeah.
worse than joining an Etsy team and then it just goes dead.
Definitely.
Yeah.
When I set it up with the guidelines, kind of like the policies for my shop, I thought ahead of time, and I was like, I want these guidelines here so that I know that the people that are joining are serious,
Right.
and they're gonna do for other members what other members will do for them.
Yeah.
So
Very good.
it's a group process of getting our items in treasuries so that we're seen.
Okay. And then you also have another team that you belong to that has a special event coming up just around the
Yeah.
corner.
Yep. I'm a leader of One Big Sale Day team. And on October 4th of this year, 2014, we are doing a big sale, team-wide sale. And all members of the team will have at least 20% off offered in their shops for either a purchase of a certain amount or for items. My personal discount is going to be 30% off all of my shop.
Oh.
Just because it's one day, one big sale, once a year.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
and,
oh, sorry, go on.
no, that's okay.
I'm just brimming with questions. I'm like, okay, wait, let
Ask
me hold
away.
my tongue.
I'll answer as you ask them.
Okay, so the One Big Sale Day team, the whole year you work towards this one big sale day?
Yes.
Really?
The team started in May of this year.
Okay.
The captain of the team opened it in May of this year, and she invited me, and I joined, and she was looking for leaders, and I was like, oh, I'd love to help out with this team. I'm really for this idea of all of us having one sale. It sounds a lot of fun. So I've been helping with that.
Oh, nice.
And every year we're going to do the sale. Hopefully, as long as it's successful.
What will you do the rest of the year?
So we have a blog, onebigSaleDay.blogspot.com.
Okay.
And we feature members on the blog that are going to be in the sale. We feature items from their shop, a couple members a week. And then we also do, I've been writing for the blog for like Etsy help articles, kind of tips and advice for our members.
Okay.
On if they have questions, they can ask them in the forums of the team, and then we'll try and answer them with a in-depth blog article. And one of the recent ones I did, I think it was in July, I want to say, and it was on 10 ways to drive traffic to your Etsy shop. And so it's just ideas, tips, advice, and it helps the members, which are many of them are that come out and ask questions are newer sellers. And so we try and help out the team as much as we can with advice and trying to make all of the team members successful in selling on a day-to-day basis so that the sale can even be more successful for everyone involved.
Okay. So outside of the One Big Sale Day, most of the support comes through the helpful articles on the website, and then answering questions in the forum.
Yeah, and like in August, we did a photography workshop throughout the entire month in the forums, where we focused on certain things like lighting and talked about how we did our lighting for our shop, and posted to articles that are helpful for whatever topic we were talking about with photography. So we kind of did a group workshop for anyone that wanted to be involved. So
okay. And now, since the sale is coming up on October 4th, will the team still be accepting new team members? Today is October 1st, or do people have to wait for after this big sale coming up to then apply?
So maybe I should talk to the captain. No. We would accept members all year round because we're hoping to do this as an annual thing. So one day each year we're going to have a sale. And this is it's pre-holiday sale season. So we're hoping everyone that decides to purchase through this sale can get a jump start on their holiday shopping with some big sales from our shop.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Shopping handmade and promoting all of that is really a big thing. But yeah, so it's like one sale code for the whole team. We use one sale code in our shop that we'll all have posted somewhere saying this is the coupon code.
Oh.
And it's OBSD for one big sale day, and then for October OCT 2014. Kind of confusing. I could send it to you in a message and maybe you can post it on.
Yeah, that would be great. But just so I make sure we repeat it for people who, let's say, are driving right now, it's OBSD.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
OBSD number 4 OCT 2014.
Okay. All right. And if you're driving or you're not somewhere where you can write this down, just go to convome.com and look for RockaBeauty Boutique, and the code will be there, and I'll have links back to. Is it possible to link back to if I link to the team's blog, will they also be able to get information, or is it better to link to the team or the Etsy team?
The blog or the team, we're going to put up links to hopefully get it so that everyone can find what they want.
Okay.
Within the team, whether they're someone hoping to join the team or someone hoping to shop the sale. If you go to the team on Etsy, you can find all the members in the bottom and just click on the shops and they'll be having that sale that day. So.
Okay. All right. So links to all these will be in the show notes. So if you can't write it down, just go online and everything will be there. Yeah. Now, so when you come up with a new design that you want to make, typically how long does it take you from the time you get the idea to listing it?
Ooh, if I've got the supplies on hand, I could do it within the week.
Okay.
Typically, I'll draw the design up and then put a kind of prototype together, test run, and see how it goes. See if I need to change anything with the design, and then maybe that will be one day, and then the next day I can put some of them together and get some photography and hopefully list it up by the end of the week, as long as I find the time to type out that listing and get all the photos,
everything, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Do you ever find? Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, I was going to say that, and I shoot with models sometimes. So for the items that I have modeled on my models, sometimes I have to schedule a time to do that, which makes it push the item out a little bit further for when it will be listed, because the photos won't necessarily be done yet. But
okay.
I try to do that quickly. So.
Okay. I know, I was looking at the photos in your shop. I was like, I wonder which one she is.
None of them.
None of them, apparently.
Yeah. Those are some of my friends. So.
Oh, okay. Nice.
It's easier to take the photos of someone else. So
yeah.
It's hard to do it on my own. So
yeah, you know what's funny, and I don't know why I thought this, but when I was looking at the ones where you have models in them, I thought, oh wow, she must be really good with the timer on the camera, because you know how you can set the timer, then go and then stand and pose and wait, and I thought, oh, she must be really good with the timer, but now we know.
Yeah,
they're your friends. Do the creative juices just ever stop flowing?
Oh, sometimes there will be lags, but I try and just step away for a little while, and then maybe the next day the new idea will pop into my head, and I'll go from there. Yeah. I don't know where my inspiration comes from sometimes, because it's like, oh my gosh, I have this idea, I have to get it down on paper before I lose it.
Yeah, that's the joy of being a creative person. They just, the wind can inspire you.
It's the joy in the setback sometimes, because it can be lost as quick as it comes sometimes. Yes,
I know. I find that's one of my big frustrations, is when I get something that I think is just going to be a really good idea or something to do, and if I don't write it down and it goes away, sometimes I stay up at night thinking, what was that breakthrough idea I had, and why is it?
Yeah. I'll be staring at the ceiling doing that thought process. Like, it was somewhere. Where is it?
Yes,
Trying-
yes. And sometimes I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, if I was driving, I almost want to go and sit down in the car and think, okay, if I sit back in the car, maybe it will come back to me. And sometimes I actually do things like that.
I know. I do it too.
Oh, okay, good. So we
Well,
aren't
just-
crazy.
Yeah. Well, we might be crazy. Who knows, but.
We'll convince ourselves that. So, okay, now you did a lot of prep before you came onto Etsy. What would you say is one or maybe two of the things that you did that helped really set you up well for success on Etsy?
My first stop for prepping was the Etsy Seller Handbook, and a lot of people know about it, but I think a lot of people don't as well. It's the Etsy blog. I read so many, I mean, constantly today, even when they add new articles, I'll read them if they're if I see them, I'll read them. And so the Etsy Seller Handbook is just a compilation of those helpful articles that really can get you set up for starting your shop. And it goes over from everything from like photography to shop policies to I don't know. It's full of information. It's great. And so I started there, and then I also handmadeology.com. I am one of the pro members, so I have there's you can read the blog, and they also have a membership where you have to pay, but it's you pay once, and it's like a full-time, you're member for life, and it's like every month they add more information and more articles into it that are really helpful articles, and sometimes they're videos, sometimes they're articles. It's just a wealth of information.
I visit that from time to time. What's the membership?
So I'm a new member to it. So I joined. I paid a like set fee, and now you can get to this other section that has information on like finances and running a creative business, and it just sets you up for that handmade business mentality, and it just lays it out for you. The information is there. If you need the information, it's online.
Okay.
If there's something you want to know, just look it up, and then the Handmadeology they write those articles for the pro members that are just exclusive, more in depth, and there's so many of them. I haven't even gotten through the start of my membership, like the articles that are suggested to me. Right. I haven't gotten through all of those, and they're adding new ones every month. So
right. Yeah, even the free stuff, there's so much good information before you even get to pay for the super secret more stuff. I shouldn't say super secret, but the premium content, that's what I should call it, not super secret stuff. Yeah, the extra stuff. Yeah, I do like handmadeology.com.
And I found Handmadeology because I went to my local library, and I took out books on Etsy when when I started. I wasn't looking online. I was looking at my library because we have a really great library system in our area. Okay. And I read Etsy Entrepreneurship or something. Yeah. But I think that's the title of the book. And there's a lot of Etsy help books. There's even an Etsy for Dummies somewhere. Yeah. And so I read through those books to start, and then that's how I found the online community of helping Etsy sellers.
Yeah. And I think, if I'm not wrong, the person who runs the Handmadeology site, or who owns it, or who started it, he also wrote a book on Etsy. Yeah,
I read it.
Yeah, I can't remember the title, but I read that one too. Yeah.
I can't remember it, but
I know that's so bad.
That's how I found it. So.
Yeah, I think that's how I found it too. I know that's kind of bad. I should be helping to promote it. I have it on my bookshelf. I think it's I don't know. I'll put it in the show notes, because I think if you're selling on Etsy, it's so helpful. There was a lot of good information in it, and I think a lot of the information in it is still applicable and evergreen. That's just the downside of physical books, is things change, over the years. And so some policies might not be the same on Etsy that might have been discussed, but the core of information that was given in the book was really good. It was very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it changes, and then they'll come out with new books, and then it will change again.
And then it will change again.
Yeah. But online is a great resource for the knowledge that you need for running a handmade Etsy shop.
Yeah.
Or a vintage Etsy shop. It doesn't have to be handmade, but that's my focus.
Right. Right. So what's so far one lesson you think you've learned the hard way from selling on Etsy, or while you've been selling on Etsy?
I'm trying to think. That's a tough one.
Yeah, and maybe there isn't, because you've only been on for we're in this October, so 10 minus 3, like 7 months.
Yeah, it's been a short time so far. So I learned a lot of. I wouldn't say it was the hard way, because I just was researching and reading. So I didn't come into any problems yet. I guess there's like etiquette in the Etsy forums is the only thing I can think of, because there's a lot of I know that sounds really weird, but so there's the Etsy forums, and there's certain ways that you are supposed to talk on there, otherwise you can get banned from the forums. And I didn't necessarily learn that the hard way, but I mean, there's one time where I accidentally promoted myself when I wasn't supposed to.
Oh yes,
so
yes,
yes. Okay, well, I've learned, and I'm not going to do that again.
Yes.
It's like, because like people will go on there and be like, oh, I want to see new shops, and so if you post a link, then you're kind of shunned.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to promote on there. But I don't know if that was the learning it the hard way, I guess.
Yeah. Well, at least you learned that lesson.
Yeah.
Yes. Etsy forum etiquette. It does exist.
Yeah. And they have an article on it. Like, you should read the terms and uses of how to do forums before you start talking on there, because you can get banned from them. So you don't want that, because it's so much information you can get, and you can contact people and talk and discuss things, and you want to be able to be in those forums if you want to be involved. So don't get banned from them.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because yes, I know that they do have guidelines for your conduct in the forum. And I remember reading through them once and thinking, oh my goodness, I'm almost afraid to say anything. Not in a bad way, but just because I just don't want to say something and then be banned for life, because there's just so much good information there that, that's exchanged. And so I found myself just going in more and just, what's the word? Going in more like a voyeur, just watching and reading and then not really participating, because I was like, oh, I don't know if I can say that, and yeah. Yeah,
you got to be careful. And communicating online, things can be taken out of context so easily.
Yeah.
So being in those forums, you also don't want to say anything that represents your shop wrong, because your shop is linked to what you're saying.
Yeah.
So if you say something a little, I don't know, like if you respond to someone sarcastically when the sarcasm didn't come across, and then they think you're kind of not a nice person, and then they get this idea that your shop might not have good of customer service because of something you said or something like that.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. If you could ask the folks at Etsy for a feature that doesn't currently exist on the site, what would you request?
I know the answer to this one. I would request that they would have a vacation mode that didn't shut down your shop. I recently, like last week, went on a short vacation, but right now, in order to go on vacation mode, I think it takes down all your listings and just puts a message up saying, I'm on vacation, I'll be back this day. You can click this button and you'll be notified when I'm back. But since I was gone for only 4 or 5 days, I wish I could have had my shop open to browsing. Maybe not even someone could shop, but just the fact that someone could find my items while I'm away for a couple days, I feel like would help not cut off contact to your shop for that short time, which kind of messes up the traffic to your shop.
Yeah.
And so I really wish that they had that a little bit different, or maybe some options for it on how you wanted to do vacation.
Right. And it's
So,
interesting that you bring that up because, yes, I thought about the same thing once before, and I don't remember what the link is. I'll look for it and maybe put it in the show notes. But you know how Etsy has the beta testing teams?
oh yeah, I'm actually on one for the vacation.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was going to say. There's one for the vacation. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that they do they're doing right now is like you can edit your listings, but they're still not visible, I don't think.
Okay.
I don't know. I could be wrong about it. I went to the forums to ask, and nobody really had any information.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if anyone knows because I know they're testing it.
Yeah.
And yes, it would be kind of nice to have some kind of product visibility, because I know when I go to a shop and I want to buy something and it says they're on vacation, and let's say they don't say when they'll reopen, because sometimes it just says, I'm on vacation or something like that.
Yeah.
Automatically, I just think they're gone. And
Well, yeah.
I hardly ever think to come back and check and see if they reopened. It just, I mentally just block them off and then move on.
Well, and like if you were walking down the street and there was a brick and mortar store that was on vacation, you could still window shop.
Yeah, yeah. Good analogy. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So yeah, vacation mode
Yeah.
feature. So you're still relatively new. What's a piece of advice you would give to someone who is just starting out on Etsy too?
So I would definitely say learn about what you're doing. As far as business sides of things, like obviously your craft. You're probably an expert on your craft if you're going to be selling it, hopefully. But not everyone knows the business side of things, and it really helps to have some knowledge. Even if you open up your shop before you start learning, there's no time to stop learning.
Yeah.
It's always changing. And get involved in communities to learn more and also to network with people. Because, it seems like all the sellers on Etsy want to help each other. It's a really, really great community.
Yeah.
So yeah, get involved and learn the business side of things, I guess.
Yeah, no, those are two important things. Getting involved gives you more visibility, but then you're running a business, and so you need to also pay attention to the business aspect of your business, the not so fun creative side of the business.
Yeah,
it's hard to be successful.
I enjoy all of it, but I think it's because sometimes I'm scatterbrained. So like, if I'm focusing on one thing, but I need a break from it, I can go and do this other thing for my shop.
Yeah.
And that will bring my attention to something else. And it's that break I need from, doing the numbers to doing crafting to photography. It's like, it's perfect for me, I feel like, because I can bounce around.
Oh yeah. Good for you. I avoid the stuff I don't like.
Yeah.
I do it eventually, but
procrastinate a little bit.
Yes, exactly. So TJ, what's something that you're doing now that you think is really working well for you and your Etsy business?
I think that social media is, I'm starting to get the grasp of it a little bit better after a few months of experimenting around with it and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. I think that I've gotten that down a bit more, so it's helping my shop. I'm by no means an expert on that. It is so complicated on how to promote through social media. It's just, I could go 2 years in college to learn that and still not know everything.
Yes, I know. Because it's changing just as rapidly as the days are moving on,
Yeah, so, yeah, it's something you really have to keep up on. But I think I've been doing a better job recently than I was when I first started.
Okay.
And so I think I have that going for me a little bit. And then also being involved in the teams, just networking and getting involved in the community, I think helps. I see a lot of traffic to my shop from teams, which I think part of that is the treasury team I'm on, so it's not necessarily buyer traffic. They're like going to my shop and saying, I want this item for a treasury.
Oh,
but
right.
where people will see it once those treasuries are posted, I mean, you get upwards of 100 views sometimes on treasuries, and then people will click into the shop and
hopefully
find
see
your shop
something
that
they
way.
want.
Yeah. Hopefully it's someone that's going to buy from you.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. But yeah, those have been some things that I've really been enjoying and I think are working out. The time that I put in is
paying off.
Yeah, paying off.
Of the social media outlets that you use, which one do you say gives you the best return on your time investment?
I use Facebook the most.
Okay.
Just I know it the most, but I'm getting the grasp of Twitter. I never did Twitter before I started my like I don't have a personal Twitter account. It's just my shop's Twitter account, which I use. It's my only account on Twitter. And so I'm kind of getting the whole hashtag thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a trendy person. I can't figure that part out of it. But I'm grasping it a bit now. After trying it out. So I think Facebook definitely first, and then maybe Twitter. I like Instagram too, though, because I can take pictures of the stuff that I'm working on, and it's not something I can necessarily. It makes sense on Instagram since it's all pictures. Like I can be like, oh, I'm working on this. It's going to be in the shop soon. Get excited because I'm excited.
Yeah, I like that. Then on Twitter, what do you just post links to items that you have listed in your shop?
Yeah, I will. I do like the first time I talked to you was on the hashtag handmade our USA, which every Wednesday. And I will typically try and grab that every Wednesday and join in on the conversation. But throughout the week, I try not to just post listings to my shop. I mostly post treasuries because I make a lot of treasuries and I'm featured in quite a few because of that team. So I like to get traffic that way because it's not so direct. Like, hey, look at my stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, look at this awesome treasury that has so many amazing items from Etsy.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And one of them is mine.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
It's like a little Where's Waldo? Which one's mine?
Yeah. Nice. So, TJ, what's the best way people can reach you if they want to get in touch with you? I'm on Etsy all the time, so Etsy combos are always an easy way to contact me. Okay.
It's a little notification on my phone when I get a conversation, so I pretty much, if I have the time, check it right away. If I don't, I know it's there, so I'll check it soon.
Okay.
And then also Facebook. Part of the social media thing that I don't like is that it's like so hard to talk to people on social media that you don't necessarily know, like as a brand. But I love the contact of talking to customers and that are interested in my items. So like if you're on Facebook and come to my page and talk to me, I'll talk back to you. I want to talk. It's fun.
I know exactly what you mean because I feel the same way. When people say things to me on Twitter or on Facebook or on the Facebook page, I'm just so excited to say something right back because it's like, oh my goodness, this person wants to talk to me, you know, and so, you know, I get happy. Yeah, that's a good thing about
it's like a rush almost. Even the messages on Etsy, I'm like, oh, the other day I had someone message me and she was like, I don't have any questions, but I just want to tell you that I really like your shop. And I was like, oh my gosh, that made my day. Like,
yes. Yes, I know the feeling. Yeah. Yeah, that's the best.
Like, I like it when people say hi too.
Yeah. Especially people you don't know. It's like, oh my goodness. It's like meeting somebody new that you really like.
I know. It's really interesting. It's a new thing for me. I never was online much before that opening my shop, but like I really enjoy it because it's fun. It's fun talking to people.
Yeah. Whole new world. And just for those who are listening, TJ's Etsy shop again is RockaBeauty Boutique and everything is branded that way. So her Facebook page is RockaBeauty Boutique as well. On Twitter though, you're RockaBeauty Mama.
Yeah, RockaBeauty Mama is my name out there.
Okay.
That I go by.
Right. And then on Pinterest, it's RockaBeauty Mama as well. And then Instagram, your RockaBeauty Boutique.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. And I'm going to have links to all of these on the show notes. If you want to connect with TJ, feel free to reach out to her. If you forget anything I've said, all her contact information is going to be in the show notes. Just go to convo.me.com and look for RockaBeauty Boutique, and everything will be there. Leave some feedback for her. Let her know what you think about the episode. I'm sure she would love to hear from you. You just heard. We like hearing from people. I like hearing from people. So please speak up. And TJ, thank you so much for being my guest on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be on the podcast because I started listening to it back when I opened up my shop, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then here I am talking to you. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it didn't hurt, did it?
No, not. It was a little bit of nerves, thinking but no, it didn't hurt. Painless,
okay, good.
Very painless.
Okay, good. And there was something else I was going to say. Oh yeah, the one big sale day. Go to if you go to the website convo.me.com, again under RockaBeauty Boutique, the coupon code will be there that you can use to shop at all the Etsy shops that are participating. It's going to be October 4th, 2014. And thank you, and I will talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening. You can subscribe to the podcast in iTunes, and while you're there, please leave a review too. Visit convo.me.com to leave a comment or feedback on this episode.